Good morning, everybody. Want to talk about there's been some buzz, although it's obviously been overshadowed by the attacks on liberty that have taken place recently, and should really frighten all of us if they can do that to a former president who's most likely, at the very least, a future presidential candidate. So they're really politicizing what's supposed to be law enforcement. They could do that to anybody, and they're obviously just picking nonsense. It's not, they're saying, oh, nobody's above the law. Come on, we know that they're just doing a fishing expedition. They're trying to find something that they can pin on him. He hasn't done anything wrong. They would have caught something by now if he did. So anyway, all that being putting aside, there's all this buzz about Christian nationalism and what a threat it is, and then some people on the right, like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Dinesh D'Souza, said, no, we should embrace that. And as a non-Christian, as a Jew, I agree. First of all, I am not a Jewish nationalist. I'm not a Zionist. And so, but a lot of Jews, I don't know if it's a majority, whatever it is, but there's a lot of Jews who are Zionists, and they're very upset at those of us who are not. And if any of those who are Zionists, who are Jewish nationalists, are upset about Christian nationalism, so then they're either bigots or hypocrites, or both, which they really are. Anyway, regardless of what, irregardless, I guess. I know you're not supposed to use that word, but sometimes they say you are. But there's a big difference, because Christian nationalism isn't what people think it is. Because what it really means is it's nationalism that's tempered by Christianity. And what we should be really worried about, and this word secular is kind of a loaded word, but I'll use it as it is in the world. The secularism, seclorum, means worldly. It doesn't mean irreligious or without religion or without God. There's such a thing as secular clergy in the Catholic Church, as opposed to the cloistered, monks and nuns who stay in a monastery or a convent, and then there are those who go out in the world. Those are the secular clergy, the parish priest or whatever. So, in any event, the idea of secular nationalism is much more dangerous than Christian nationalism, because in America, what it means Christian nationalism, because we have an establishment clause that says you don't have one official Church of America, the way that there is a Church of England, or that there is the Chief Rabbinate of Israel, and many other countries have an official religion, a state religion. America doesn't have that, meaning a particular denomination of Christianity is not the state Church of America, the way that there is the state Church of England. Now the existence of the state Church of England in no way precludes the existence of other churches in England. We know that there is tolerance of other religions in England. In America, we're talking about something totally different. When they say Christian nationalism, those who are proud of that title, what they mean, and I say what we mean, is a nationalism that is tempered by the compassion, kind of like what George Bush used to talk about, compassionate conservatism. That a type of nationalism it's not unbridled secular nationalism, but it is bridled Christian nationalism. And since Christian nationalists will say they don't want the government to force anyone to take away anyone's religious rights, as a Jew, not only am I in no way threatened by Christian nationalism, I think my rights to practice my faith are protected by the ideology of Christian nationalism. As opposed to secular nationalism, we've seen what happened in the various socialist countries, whether they're National Socialists or what would call themselves International Socialists, the communists, who killed much more than the National Socialists, but they're both big government, left-wing groups that have murdered tens of millions of non-combatant innocents, quite often just because of a religion or a religious identity. And so we should be much more afraid of secularism, of secular nationalism, than we should be of Christian nationalism. enough of the lies that the left have put against Christians. We have to rather support the fact that we're better off living in a world with a nationalism that's tempered by Christianity, as opposed to the deadly, unbridled evil of communism and Nazism. And Nazism is not a Christian movement. It's not a religious movement. It's a secular movement that abuses religious ideology sometimes, or religious imagery, really, not even ideology. It removes the ideology of religion, but uses the imagery in order to try to keep people afloat. And that's obviously, we know how dangerous that is, but communism is much worse. And we have to fight both of those ideas of big government, and rather focus on allowing people to have religious freedom, which is what really Christian nationalism is really all about. It's not about using government. It's about small government. So it's about, because of the beliefs of Christianity, of free will, they're not taking away, they're not going to use the government. Render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's, right? That's from the Christian Bible. They're not going to use, even that's talking about taxation, whatever it is, and render unto God that which is God, meaning the image of God and the human being should be given to God. And that's really, I think, what Christian nationalism is all about. It really is the essence of the separation of church and state, as Jefferson stated it, and not as the left has been misinterpreting it. Thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe, comment. We'll see you later.